everybody, and welcome to my little channel. I wanted to talk today about fertility things and what we are doing differently this time around in our TTC journey for baby number 2 than we did the first time around with my September 2016 baby. By the way, I have to apologize. This kitten is like next level when it comes to affection, so she will be probably making an appearance in this video. So anyway, with my September 2016 baby, we had an interesting scenario with her. I was still waiting for my residence permit to move to Sweden, and so we had been waiting like a year at that point for my residence permit, and we were just going back and forth visiting each other while we waited. But I was 31. I had just turned 31 in October of 2015, and I felt like I was starting to get old, and we really wanted to have kids, and specifically we wanted to have more than one. So with the way spacing would go and how long it could have taken to conceive, we didn't want to waste any more time. So we knew that my residence permit would probably be approved by like February-ish of 2016. And so I got approval from my work to visit my husband over the holidays, so mid-December 2015 to mid-January 2016. And my cycle, I was supposed to be fertile, I think, toward the middle of December. So like right at the beginning of when I was going to come and visit. So we talked about it and we decided, you know what, let's not waste any more time. Let's just try it and see what happens. And one of the reasons we thought, you know, what the heck, let's just try it and see what happens this time, was because I've had about 10 surgeries on my cervix. I've had everything from the LEAP procedure to cryotherapy to remove abnormal cervical dysplasia, I think it is, like abnormal cells. I don't have HPV, or at least I've always tested negative for it, but I seem to have a history of cervical lesions. So yeah, so I've had a lot of procedures done, and the biggest one, the LEAP procedure, where they like take this heated coil and like scoop out and at the same time cauterize the cervix. It was done like right towards the opening of my cervix. And so because of that, my OB/GYN in the States told me when I went for like a preconception appointment to talk about, you know, whatever you needed to talk about before you TTC'd, she told me that to give it at least a year, to expect that it could take up to 2 years to conceive, and to not consider fertility treatments until we've reached the 2-year mark. And for some reason that didn't bother me. I don't know why. I've, you know, for most of my life, always thought I didn't want to ever have kids. It wasn't until I found the right person and I just got to that right point in my life where my biological clock just started to tick. So I don't know why I took what she said with a grain of salt. I was extremely naive and ignorant. You know, back then I hadn't watched any videos, or that was my cat. I hadn't watched any videos on YouTube. I didn't know any of the struggles that a lot of the women go through in trying to conceive. I was just completely oblivious to it all. So I came and visited, and the only thing I had used at that point was I was taking just a Whole Foods brand of prenatal vitamin, because my OB/GYN told me to start taking the vitamin 3 months before we planned to try to conceive. So I was taking just the Whole Foods store brand prenatal, and I was using the Clue app. And I've seen all kinds of apps now, you know, now that it's been a couple years and I've watched, you know, countless videos on YouTube. I've tried Glow. I really hate Glow. The interface is so busy. It's like there's ads or all, I don't know. It's not clean. I don't like it. I do appreciate that there is like a lot of data that you can input, and I'm a data freak, so, I do appreciate that. But I feel like it's just too busy for me. I don't like it. Um, and I didn't know about any other apps. Like, I've recently downloaded Kindara, based off of a YouTube recommendation. Haven't really gotten into it. I really like Clue. You can log your moods, you can log your bleeding, you can log your sex, whatever, habits, activities. Um, you can log cervical mucus and stuff, and you can like add notes to every day. And what I really appreciate from it is that it's just a very, very clean interface. So that's what I was using, and I just sort of assumed that the fertile window that was recommended to me based off of that app was more or less correct. And I would go off of cervical mucus because it was that changes pretty dramatically for me each cycle. So I kind of have a good idea of when I ovulate. I also have an extremely regular cycle every 25 days. Like, maybe a couple times a year I might have a period that's 24 days or 26 days, but I'm pretty regular in terms of periods. And I also had completely gotten off of birth control a year before we started trying, which I had heard that I heard some sort of thing where it's like, for every year you've been on birth control, expect it to take 1 month for your cycle to really regulate. And I'd been on birth control for like 10 years. So when my then fiance and I decided that we wanted to eventually, start having a family once I got my residence permit, I decided, okay, now is the time to clean everything up. So that's what I did. I took the Whole Foods brand vitamin. I stopped birth control way, way early in advance. And I tracked my cycles using the Clue app. So when I visited, I just kind of went off of the fertile window, and, we had sex every day of the fertile window. I didn't know anything at the time about these, rumors that say, you shouldn't have sex every day. It can like weaken the sperm count or the viability or something. And I also hadn't really known anything about how long the fertile window actually is, because on my app it says anytime within these 5 days. And so I just assumed, okay, I'll be fertile for 5 days. I didn't realize that you really only have like a 12-hour window, really. But we were just shooting arrows in the dark. I thought it was going to take a while to conceive for us. But sure enough, I think I knew within a few days that I was pregnant from that encounter, because I started to notice a lot of changes. Like, I was vegan at the time, and I started craving, let's see, what were my first symptoms? My first symptoms were, I noticed that I was getting nauseous at night, every night, and I thought it was because I was getting car sick. Because in LA, where I lived at the time, all the roads are flat and straight and everything. But here in Sweden, where we live, all the roads are very like up and down and windy and turny. And I just always seemed to notice that I was not feeling good in the car. So I thought I was getting some sort of like car sickness. But then I started to crave red meat and orange juice, which I didn't like orange juice at the time. And I had been vegan for a couple years before I conceived. So that was really strange to me. So, and then the kicker was that about 1 week, maybe 10 days, about like maybe even less than 1 week after we conceived, my boobs felt like they had been run over by an 18-wheeler. Like, they were so sore. And I don't get sore boobs before my period. Like, I've noticed sometimes some weird things back when I would change birth control, but that was like in my 20s, Sometimes my boobs would get sore. The only time I ever get sore boobs is if I don't wear a good sports bra before a long run. And so that was a dead giveaway. Like, don't get sore boobs. I don't even have boobs. Like I'm like a small B cup. So that, all of that was pretty much an indication to me that I thought that we were successful. But we decided to wait to take a test before, we waited until I had officially missed my period, which was the day before I was supposed to fly back home after my trip. It was January 16th. And again, like I didn't know about like you're supposed to use first morning pee. Like I didn't know anything about that. So we got a test that day. We went home and it was like 9:30 at night when I took the pregnancy test on the day that I was supposed to have had my period that day. And I'm very regular, so it was good enough for me to try to test right before I went back home because my flight was the next morning. So I thought it would be like, if it was positive, it would be nice to share that experience with my husband. And so peed on a stick, left it in the bathroom, set the timer, went out into the living room. My husband was convinced it was negative. He thought there was no way in chance that we had succeeded on the first try, especially given all the fact that I had this cervical scar tissue and my doctor said it could take us years. We, caught my fertile window like right at the beginning of the trip. So, jet lag and that kind of stuff can do weird things to your body. We just didn't, and all the stress we'd both been under during this like year-long residence permit wait, we really just weren't expecting anything. And I wanted to check the test results because I was trying to prepare myself for a negative, and I wanted that quiet moment to like have that letdown, have that disappointment, maybe get like that surge of sadness, and then get over it, and then be able to present the results to my then fiance, because I just didn't want to be confronted with the results and not have that quiet moment to sort of grieve. But when the timer went off, my husband wanted to be the one to go look at the results. And I fought it, initially. I'm like, no, I want to. But then I realized, if he is vested in this and he wants to be the one to have that experience, I don't want to take that from him. If we are pregnant, I'm going to be the one that gets to go through like all of the good stuff and all the bad stuff. But still, I didn't want to take that experience from him if he wanted it. So he went in, he got the test. Oh my gosh, do you see my kitten? Crazy girl. He got the test, he came out, he was white as a ghost. Just completely all the blood out of his face. And he's like, it's positive. It's bleep positive. Anyway, that was such a good and wild and amazing and such a fortunate experience to have gotten it on that first try. I feel incredibly lucky. So with all of that said, as a preface, I am guilty of the faux pas of assuming, at least initially, assuming that when we tried for a second baby, it would be just as easy, Now, I'm not that ignorant anymore. I mean, first of all, I still think that we just got enormously lucky. Enormously lucky. I don't think I'm normal down there. Because, I went through 10 years of surgeries and procedures and stuff on my cervix. And I had a really good OBGYN. And if she tells me that I've got scar tissue that could affect things, I believe her. So, but with that aside, I've watched enough videos, I've read enough stories, I've talked to enough people. I have seen it all, and I've heard it all, and I know that even for like normal people, it seems like trying for the second, third, whatever baby, especially when you get older, and I will be 34 in like 10 days. Oh my gosh, less than that. 8 or 9 days, I'll be 34! Oh, I know I'm screwed. I know this could take a lot of time. So because of that, I wanted to do things differently in terms of trying to conceive for our second baby than I did with our first. With our first, like I said, we just did vitamins and cycle tracking and quitting birth control early. This time around, I'm doing a few different things, and it's now October, and we were not going to try until January of next year, 2018, to TTC, but I think I'm going to ask to start in December, especially because I know that this could take a while, and I want to like get into the rhythm of it and adjust things, because we would like to conceive sooner rather than later for a lot of reasons. So last month, September, this month, October, and November, I'm using as trial months. I've never stopped taking prenatal vitamins since I was pregnant with my September baby. So I've been on prenatals now since December 2015. No. Since October 2015, I've been on prenatal vitamins, almost 2 years straight. But I changed my vitamins once I got pregnant. I did a lot of research, and like I said, I was vegan at the time and just full-on hippie. I'm kind of not so much anymore, but that's another video. But I did a lot of research, and I switched to these. They're Garden of Life Vitamin Code Raw Prenatal Vitamins. They are food-based, and you know, they're non-GMO, they're gluten-free, they're vegetarian, they're dairy-free, raw food, whole food vitamins. I love these vitamins, and if you look it up, like, it's not just, like, I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can focus this. Oh well, you can look it up. I mean, it's like a ton of fruits and vegetables and herbs and everything go into these vitamins. I just think that they're really, really healthy, and I feel amazing, and I never get sick anymore. I never get sick anymore since I started taking these, so that's one of the reasons why I never stopped taking them. But even if I wasn't taking these since my September baby, I would have started these last month, 3 months before we started TTC. So these. I also take a daily probiotic, and I don't think these have anything to do with fertility. I did read a really interesting article that there are 2 probiotics, this Lactobacillus rhamnosus, and then there's another one, Ruturi, I can't remember. But there are 2 probiotics that recent studies have shown if you take them during your pregnancy, they actually fight group B strep. So if you take them throughout your pregnancy, you're much less likely to have, to be GBS positive, which is awesome, because you don't want to have to take those antibiotics and you know, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I take a daily probiotic. I love this brand, Renew Life Ultimate Flora, 50 billion. It's amazing. So I take one of these just for my general health. Gut health is paramount. And I also take Nordic Naturals Prenatal DHA. And all 3 of these things I've been taking since, for more or less since October of 2015. I just never stopped. I loved them during my pregnancy. I loved them during breastfeeding. I had leftovers, so I just kept taking them once I had stopped breastfeeding, and I love how I feel when I take them. So I take those. I have ordered a basal temperature thermometer. It's supposed to come soon. I have never tracked my body temperature, but whether we struggle with fertility or not, I just really enjoy the science behind all of this. And if this is our last baby, which it pretty much is going to be, I think, I really want that full experience. I don't want to have to go through years and years of it, but I would like to get to know my body and figure out what's going on and stuff. So I am going to start charting my temperatures once that thermometer arrives. So I'll go into another video with that, I guess, when the time comes. But that's something that we're going to do this time that we didn't do last time. Also, another thing that I am doing this time that I didn't do last time was I bought these Wandfo OPKs, ovulation predictor kit. We all know what OPKs are, right? I've seen mixed reviews of these on YouTube. I got really good recommendations for them off of my Facebook baby group that I'm a part of for my September baby. A lot of the girls there recommended these. So, and I've done a video recently about my first couple tests, and I thought they were easy to read. You know, from what I understand, as long as the line is as dark or darker than the control line, then that's a positive reading. And if you don't see a test line, or if the test line is fainter than the control line, then it's a negative. So I got a couple positives. So this time around, I'm going to start these tests a couple days sooner than when I think I'm going to ovulate, just so that I can kind of like see the line progression and get a good idea of what's going on there. But it was helpful last month, so we'll try these. I ordered a pack of 50 off of Amazon, and it also came with 20 of the pregnancy tests. So we'll try that, and if we struggle with conceiving, then maybe we'll go for the clear blue digital. I've seen those recommended a lot on YouTube. Let's see, what else are we doing? Oh yes, so I read about this product before we tried to conceive my September baby, but I never ended up buying it because we never ended up needing it. So, but I got it for sure this time, because since having my September baby, I have not like necessarily been the same down there. And so I need a lubricant. I just don't self-lubricate anymore at all. And it's not for lack of interest, because that definitely is there, but I don't know, my hormones are a little strange still, maybe, but things are not the same down there. So we use, you know, just KY right now, but I have read a million times over that using just standard OTC lubricants are bad for trying to conceive. They're not the same consistency as cervical mucus, so the sperm get tired it out, or they get stuck in the gel and just can't, it's just not efficient to help them get up into your bits. And also I think it might be toxic for them, but I don't know. So anyway, I bought Pre-Seed, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, and it's supposed to be fertility friendly and provides antioxidant support for sperm. So yeah, it's supposed to be able to help with sperm motility, I think that's the word. And yeah, oh no, it's supposed to help sperm motility. So it just helps them get up to your business. I'll use all the help I can get, because like I said, I really feel like we got astronomically lucky with my September baby, and I just think that between my cervical, how compromised my cervix is, and also just my age, I really think it might take us some time to conceive. I'm trying to gear up for that. So, and then on top of all of that, I would show you the Clue app, but I'm using my phone to record this video this time. I'm using the Clue app still to track my cycles. I've tried to get into Glow again. I just can't. But I watched a video by someone somewhere on YouTube, I forget who. They had recommended the Kindara app. And whenever I hear about a new app, I always like to check it out just to see, you know, what's going on, because Clue, while I love it, just for its simplicity and its ease of use, and it's very like Mac-ish when it comes to the icons and stuff. It's not so PC like Glow is. It's also not, I don't think it's designed for people trying to conceive. I think it's designed more for people just tracking their cycle. So I heard of the Kindara app. It seemed like it was very conception friendly, and so I'm kind of tandem doing Kindara and Clue at the same time, because I am able to track OPK results and basal temperature, whatever, and it has like the cool graphs and stuff. So I'm gonna do that for the next few cycles and see what happens. And then, so this is what we're gonna start with. I don't know, one other thing. I am going to start taking red raspberry leaf supplements. I took the tea, and I have some leftover tea. Like all of my breastfeeding baby stuff is in that thing right there. I have some leftover tea. I'm gonna start drinking it probably. I was gonna save it, but it'll probably expire by the time I need it, if and when I ever get to a third trimester. But I also bought supplements on Amazon, and I'm doing that for a couple reasons. I hear that it's good for boosting uterine health. So, you know, I think it helps increase blood flow down there, and it strengthens your uterus, and it just makes your womb in general more fertility friendly, I guess. I used it in the third trimester with my September baby because I was told that it helps tone the uterus and kind of get it ready for labor. And I had no problem with labor, so I have to assume it at least didn't hurt. But I want to start taking it. I'm a little leery though, because I read online and a lot of women said that it messed up their cycles for like, you know, 1 or 2 months. And I don't know. I don't really want to mess with something that's not broken right now. Like, I'm very regular, so I may actually wait with these supplements and tea, now that I think of it, until maybe a couple months into us trying to conceive, because I don't want to mess with anything. But I also heard that red raspberry leaf tea or supplements can help with PMS and PMDD. They say it can shorten your cycle, probably because it strengthens your uterus. I don't know. And like helps it push out the blood. I don't have long bleeding, but I do have PMDD, which, for the record, I think I have found a good regimen that's balanced me out, because this is my second cycle now and I am cool as a cucumber. So I don't know, but it's supposed to help with like the emotional mood swings and things like that. So I do want to try it out, but I may wait a couple months into TTC just because I don't want to mess with my cycle regularity. So that is what we are going to do. I'm going to do some trial runs this month, the following month, December, if we don't TTC then, and we'll see what happens. And then we will employ the pre-seed and possibly the red raspberry leaf tea a couple months in, when we are actually legitimately trying to conceive. So if you have come across anything that has worked for you, please leave it below in a comment, because I am all about suggestions. I've heard magnesium can help. I hear warm and spicy foods are good. I've heard about fertility massages. I'm not gonna like get into all those things until we maybe are 5 to 6 months into trying and aren't successful yet. But I think what I have here is a good start. So let me know if you guys have used anything that is simple and healthy and not too crazy, that you think really helped, because I'd be really interested in looking into it. Thank you. Bye.